Shalom, shalom, beloveds. How y'all doing? I want to speak to y'all really quickly about enemy delays, about, delays that the enemy will use, right? So I've been trying to do this video. It's always something that's going on. I don't know what's going on with this, but I know what's going on. The enemy is trying to stop and block what I'm speaking about because he doesn't want this message to get out for somebody. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who it is, but somebody's going to need to hear this message. However, what I wanted to speak about, right, is that whenever we start off in a full stride. You know what I'm talking about? Whenever we are walking into, righteousness and being able to allow the Holy Spirit to use us in order for the Most High to be able to use us and guide and direct our steps, right? So what ends up happening is that in the middle of the race, where we're supposed to be the strongest at, being able to catch our momentum and stuff like this, the enemy will try to come against us and try to create some type of form of stagnancy or blockage, right? One thing this is called the enemy resistance. This is the first one, the enemy resistance, right? Is where the enemy will try to, resist and fight through people. People will mess around and be like, okay, well, maybe this is not your calling, this is not your lane or whatever, when the Most High has already told you that it is, right? And to have you kind of second guess yourself. The second part of this is that the enemy will try to use this within ourselves. So try to veer us off with distractions or whatever, or even make us feel, tired and drained. And in that midst of us being tired and drained, we start to question ourselves, is this really what we're supposed to do? Has the Most High really told us this, for us to be able to operate in this or whatever, right? And so what it is that you have to keep in mind is that do not doubt in the darkness what, the Most High Yah has taught you or has spoken to you in the light, right? So the Most High God has spoken something to you in the light, Don't allow yourself to be doubtful in that darkness, you know what I'm talking about? And so the reason why the enemy would do this to you is because he knows that you are powerful, and he knows that there's something that you are going to do. He knows that you have a preordained destination, a journey, right? And so in the middle of the process, or in the midst of the process, he does not want you to become powerful. You know what I'm saying? But one thing that we know is Genesis 50:20, where it says that though you thought it evil against me, I used it for the good to save everyone alive. What this shows is that even in the midst of those things that the enemy is trying to use, as long as you hold on to the faith and you keep the trust, then this will end up helping you to gain spiritual stamina, you know what I'm talking about, to be able to resist those attacks further along in the future. So for you to be able to get over those hurdles, you know what I'm saying? So it's not doing anything but making you stronger. We know that the weapons of war are not physical, but the weapons of war are not carnal, but spiritual, right? So this means that all the weapons that the enemy will use, you know what I'm saying, the Most High will turn those things around, you know what I'm saying, as we know that everything works for the greater good, you know what I'm saying, for those who love God, right? Who love Yah. So when we see this, you know what I'm saying, then we know that his word does not return void, right? And so this is why he tries to do those things of that resistance or whatever, right? So we're going to go into the book of Nehemiah 4 and 7, right? So Nehemiah 4 and 7, it says, and it came to pass that when Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabians and the Ammonites and the Ashdodites heard that the walls of Jerusalem were made up and that the breaches began to be stopped, then they were very wroth, right? So what the enemy does is the enemy gets mad that, you know what I'm saying, he can no longer breach into your territory, to be able to penetrate, to get you to come into agreement, to throw you off, to stagnate you, because he knows that now if the walls are going up, then you're going to pose more of a threat, which it was once an easy challenge, you know what I'm saying? Now you're bringing that much more of a harder challenge, right? And so when we know this, we see that this is why the enemy will use enemy resistance with people or even within ourselves, right? Because even in verse 8 it says, and conspired all of them together to come and to fight against Jerusalem and to hinder it. So if the enemy can be able to try to hinder your process, you know what I'm saying, in the progression of, you know what I'm saying, you growing and developing into who you're supposed to be, then, you know what I'm saying, then he can be able to make it to where you're not so much of a threat. And that's the reason why the enemy attacks you, you know what I'm saying? But you must not give out, you know what I'm talking about? You got to keep running the course. Whenever the enemy fights you super hard, then you got to keep in mind that you need to pray that much more, you know what I'm saying? Pray that much more, fast that much more, you know what I'm saying? Even though it's times where you feel distracted or like, well, I don't really want to, just take the time and listen to some praise and worship music. You know what I'm saying? The enemy hates praise and worship. You know what I'm talking about? Listen to praise and worship music. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that you fill your atmosphere with, you know what I'm saying, holy reverence. You know what I'm talking about? Listening to those things or listening to scriptures or whatever, you know what I'm saying, just about your day, right? And this goes into our second one, which is territorial resistance. Territorial resistance, you know what I'm saying, will be atmospheres or territories that will try to hold you back, you know what I'm saying, until you have moved out of those spaces, right? And so, you guys, you know, I'm trying to do all this fast is because this is really like my 10th, you know what I'm saying, 11th time in the midst of this, and keep trying to shut this video down, which is strange, you know what I'm saying, because if it was about something negative, they would keep it up, you know what I'm saying, they wouldn't fight me as hard. But, you know, so aside from that, you know what I'm talking about, let's go into Matthew 8. So Matthew 8, and we'll go Matthew 8, 32 to 34, right? And so Matthew 8, 32 through 34 says that he said unto them, go, and they were come out, and they went into the herd of swine, and behold, the whole herd of swine ran violently down a steep place into the sea, and perished in the waters. And they that kept them fled, and went their way into the city, and told everything, and what was befallen to the possessed of the devils. And behold, the whole city came out to meet Yahushua, Jesus. And when they saw him, they besought him that he would depart from their coast, right? So this was a territory that the enemy had familiarity in, using familiar spirits and all these type of things, other, you know what I'm saying, accursed, unclean spirits or whatever. And so because, you know what I'm saying, he had, the Lord, the Messiah had ended up coming into that space to try to heal them, you know what I'm saying, they didn't want it, they were scared of it, you know what I'm saying, it made them scared. Right? And so they were scared and terrified at the same time because they were so used to being under the possession of the enemy. You know what I'm saying? Some territories that we're in is like this. Some people don't want to be uncomfortable, you know what I'm saying, and to grow. So when they see you growing and they see you elevating and you preaching the word and speaking the truth, you know what I'm talking about, then they will feel like that you were a threat. And so they will not want you around, you know what I'm talking about? And this is another reason why in the scripture it says that a prophet has no honor, you know what I'm saying, in his own home, right? It's because they want to keep you stagnant into what they know you as, right? So we see that as he casted those the demons, the legion demon, you know what I'm talking about, out of the man or whatever, then you know what I'm saying, that area, that territory was so familiar with those things of uncleanliness, you know what I'm saying, and so they did not really want a healing. This is another reason why they was like, hey, you know, move around or whatever, right? And so there'll be places and people that do that type of thing to you, you know what I'm talking about, and so it'll seem that there's a heavy resistance that tries to fight you until you move, because they want you to be able to, you know what I'm saying, move out the jurisdiction, right? But knowing that you were covered, then, you know what I'm saying, then, you know, it's okay to be able to move out that area, but sometimes you're not able to move out. So this is another reason why you might be resisted in that area, right? The last one is celebratory resistance, where it's being celebrated, where you celebrate your victories or the things that are going to be a victory. So it'll be like if, say you mess around and you had invested in a company or whatever, and you were telling people that, hey, this company is about to do big things or whatever, you know what I'm saying, the enemy will try to use monitoring spirits to try to denounce and deter you and block that thing from happening. So then therefore there'll be something that falls apart in the midst of it. So it's like, well, dang, I had all my eggs in this basket and now it didn't really work out. You know what I'm saying? That's what the enemy tries to do. It's the same thing that we see, you know what I'm saying, as far as using the monitoring spirits and stuff like that, is in Judges 16, where we know that Samson had strength, you know what I'm saying, and so his strength was acknowledged, you know what I'm talking about. In the midst of his strength, we know that they had sent Delilah, you know what I'm saying, as a monitoring spirit, also was a Jezebelic spirit, right? And we see in 16:5, and it says, and the lords of the Philistines came to her and said unto her, entice him entice him and see wherein his great strength lieth, and by that means we shall prevail against him, right? That we may bind him and afflict him, and that we may give thee every one of us 1,100 pieces of silver, right? And so what this is to try to get to get Samson to be able to admit where his celebration, his destination is, where strength comes from, in order for the enemy to try to work into that thing to try to destroy